Welcome to my channel Official History of Coins and Coin Collectors. Today, we're taking a fascinating look at 3 USA Washington quarter coins from 1965, 1972D, and 1987D. These coins may look ordinary at first, but their dates, mint marks, condition, and special characteristics can make them very interesting to collectors. First up, let's get the basics out of the way. The coin we're talking about today is the 1965 Washington quarter. It features the iconic profile of our first president, George Washington, on the front, with the word Liberty inscribed above him. It's a coin that millions of people have held, but very few understand its true potential. Now, to understand why this coin is so special, we have to travel back in time to the 1960s. America was in the middle of a massive economic boom, and the price of silver was skyrocketing. This created a huge problem because, up until 1964, our dimes, quarters, and half dollars were made of 90% pure silver. People started hoarding these silver coins because their metal content was becoming worth more than their face value. This caused a national coin shortage. To solve this crisis, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Coinage Act of 1965. This groundbreaking law eliminated silver from our dimes and quarters, changing their composition to a copper-nickel-clad layer over a pure copper core. The 1965 quarter, the very first of its kind, was born out of this necessity. It marks the end of an era and the beginning of modern, clad coinage. But here is where the story gets incredibly exciting. To prevent hoarding of the new 1965 coins, the U.S. Mint made a very unusual decision. They froze the date. Both the old silver planchets and the new clad planchets were used, but all coins were stamped with the year, 1965. The Mint didn't start using the date, 1966, until August of that year. This period of transition created the perfect storm for a legendary era. Some leftover 90% silver planchets, intended for 1964 coins, got stuck in the hoppers at the Mint. When production of the new 1965 clad quarters began, these stray silver blanks eventually worked their way loose and were accidentally struck with the 1965 dies. This mistake created what is known as a transitional error, a 1965 quarter made of 90% silver. These are exceptionally rare and are the primary reason a 1965 quarter can be so incredibly valuable. Now let's talk about the value, because this is what you've all been waiting for. Is the 1965 quarter really that valuable? The answer is a resounding yes, but only for the right one. First, the reality check. If you find a regular, circulated 1965 quarter that's been used in everyday transactions, it's typically only worth its face value of 25 cents. A whopping 1,819,717,540 of these standard copper-nickel-clad quarters were minted, so they are not rare at all. However, if that same 1965 quarter is in pristine, uncirculated condition, its value can climb significantly. A perfect, gem-quality 1965 quarter graded mint state 68, MS68, by a professional grading service is listed with a retail value of a staggering $13,000. Just think about that for a moment, a single quarter worth $13,000. But we're not done yet. The true kings of the 1965 quarter are the rare silver transitional errors. If you have a genuine 1965 quarter struck on a 90% silver planchet, you are holding a small fortune. These coins have sold for thousands of dollars. One such coin, graded mint state 62, MS62, sold for an incredible $16,800 in December 2020. And the potential doesn't stop there. Other sources confirm that these authenticated transitional errors can easily reach values between $7,000 and $16,500 or more. One was even reported to have sold for $12,650 in a sale recorded back in 2005. Can you imagine what that coin would be worth today? So what is the maximum value we can sell it for? The sky is truly the limit, but the documented ceiling is exceptionally high. While the $16,800 sale is a phenomenal benchmark, the potential for even higher prices exists, especially for coins in perfect condition. For the standard clad quarter, The absolute top-tier value sits at the $13,000 mark for a flawless MS-68 specimen. For the ultra-rare silver transitional era, some sources value them between $4,000 and $17,000+, depending on condition and professional certification. The highest reported sales are in that $16,800 range, making it the current maximum target to aim for. This is why you need to look at every single 1965 quarter you come across. Don't just spend it. Take a closer look. Check its edge. A regular copper-nickel coin will have a distinctive copper-colored stripe along its side. A silver-era coin will have a solid silver edge. You can also weigh it. A standard clad 1965 quarter weighs 5.67 grams. A silver one will weigh slightly more, around 6.25 grams. These are the simple steps that could lead you to discovering a coin worth thousands of dollars. As we wrap up this exciting journey, remember the story of the 1965 quarter. It's a coin born from economic crisis, a symbol of a major shift in American history, and a testament to the fact that incredible value can be found in the most unexpected places. This is the ultimate treasure hunt, and the prize is real. Whether it's a pristine, uncirculated clad quarter worth up to $13,000 or the legendary silver transitional era that could fetch you $16,800 or more, this one single coin holds the potential for a massive payday. So go check your pockets, your piggy banks, and that old jar of change you've been ignoring. That 1965 quarter could be your ticket to a small fortune. Don't let it slip away. Look closely, get it graded, and you might just be holding one of the most valuable coins in American history. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting. Next coin, your 1972 D Washington quarter, is much more than a simple 25-cent piece. With its D Mint mark from the Denver Mint, it's a piece of American history that could be quietly sitting on the shelf, worth a significant sum right now. This coin holds the potential for a value that reaches into the thousands of dollars, a fact that makes it incredibly exciting for any collector or someone who just happened to find one. To understand its potential, we first need to appreciate where this coin comes from. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design was so well received that it became a permanent part of American coinage. The 1972 D quarter is part of the clad era, which began in 1965 when the U.S. Mint transitioned from silver to a copper-nickel composition. This specific quarter is made of a cupronickel clad composition, meaning it has outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. It weighs 5.67 grams and measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter. The coin was designed by John Flanagan, whose iconic obverse features a left-facing portrait of George Washington, with the word Liberty at the top and the date, 1972, at the bottom. The reverse depicts a majestic eagle with fully extended wings, clutching a bundle of arrows, with the words United States of America and $2. The Denver Mint produced a massive 311,067,732 of these quarters in 1972. Because of this high mintage, most circulated examples are very common and are only worth their face value of 25 cents. However, the story changes dramatically when you look at the coin's condition and any potential errors. The value is all about the grade, and that's where things get interesting. The grade of a coin is a measure of its condition, ranging from poor to perfect mint state. The professional grading scale goes from 1 to 70, with MS-60 to MS-70 representing uncirculated mint state coins. For a 1972 D quarter, the highest grade ever recorded is MS-68, a virtually flawless coin. The PCGS CoinFacts Rarity Scale rates the 1972 D quarter as R10, which is the most common rating, indicating that millions survive in all grades. But the magic happens when a coin achieves the top-tier MS-68 grade. Currently, the value of a 1972 D quarter can range from a modest sum to a small fortune. A coin in typical circulated condition is worth just 25 cents. An uncirculated example can be worth around $7.21 or more. The PCGS price guide values an MS-67 example at around $502, but the real excitement begins at the pinnacle of gradding. The graysheet wholesale price for an MS-68 is $1,234, with a retail value of $1,500. Looking at actual auction results provides the most compelling evidence of this coin's potential. The PCGS Coinfax page lists several recorded sales for MS-68 examples. One sold for $1,560 in January 2021, another for $1,680 in June 2019, and a remarkable one went for $1,860 in April 2024. The highest recorded sale for this coin was a staggering $2,585 at a heritage auction sale in September 2013. So, while most are common, the finest known examples are incredibly valuable. But what if your coin isn't in perfect condition? That's where mint errors come into play, and they can transform a common quarter into a highly sought-after treasure. A double die obverse error, where the design is struck twice at a slight angle, can fetch between $25 and $50 for a circulated example. In higher mint state grades, these have sold for over $100. A double die reverse error is another exciting find. Circulated examples of this error are typically worth $25 to $75, with mint state examples reaching $100 to $150 at auction. An off-center strike error, where the coin blank was struck off-center, can be worth $15 to $30 for a small off-center error, with larger ones being more valuable. One of the most dramatic and valuable errors is the wrong planchet error. This occurs when a quarter is accidentally struck on a blank intended for another denomination. A 1972 quarter struck on a nickel planchet can sell for between $200 and $1,250. Even more incredibly, a 1972 S-proof quarter struck on a dime or cent planchet has been known to sell for an astonishing $2,000 to $4,500. There's also a specific variety known as the Type H reverse, which is unique to the 1972 D quarter and can be worth $20 to $50. The future value of your 1972 D quarter is intrinsically linked to the growing passion of coin collectors. As the hobby continues to thrive, the demand for high-quality, error-free examples will only increase. Coins that have been professionally graded and encapsulated by services like PCGS or NGC are highly prized for their authenticity and condition. The rarity of the MS-68 grade, with only a small number of such high-quality coins in existence, positions them for potential appreciation. Therefore, you must look at your 1972 D quarter with a new sense of purpose. It represents the perfect intersection of history, art, and the thrill of the hunt. It's a tangible link to 1972 and the legacy of George Washington. Every time you hold that coin, you're holding a piece of Americana that has survived for over 5 decades. The maximum value your coin could achieve hinges entirely on its condition and any unique errors it may possess. For a standard but exceptionally well-preserved coin, the absolute ceiling based on historical sales is an incredible $2,585. However, if your coin has a rare and dramatic error like a wrong planchet, its value could potentially soar even higher, into the thousands of dollars. The current maximum sale price for a 1972 D quarter, as recorded in public auctions, is that magnificent $2,585 figure. This is a potent reminder that extraordinary value can be hiding in the most ordinary places. Your 1972 D quarter has the potential to be a significant asset. The difference between a 25-cent coin and a $1,000 treasure is just a closer look and a bit of knowledge. Examine your coin carefully, perhaps with a magnifying glass. Look for the subtle signs of doubling in the lettering or on Washington's eye. Check the edge to ensure it has the correct reeded texture. Weigh it to see if it matches the standard 5.67 grams. If you suspect you have a high-grade or error coin, the next step is to have it professionally authenticated and graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. The story of the 1972 D Washington quarter is a testament to the idea that value is not always apparent at first glance. It's a coin that has the power to surprise and delight. So the next time you come across a 1972 D quarter, don't just spend it. Take a moment to appreciate its history and examine its condition. You might just be holding a small piece of American history that's worth $1,000 or more. Your 1972 D quarter is an opportunity, a potential treasure, and a fascinating piece of the great American story. Second coin, the world of the 1987 D Washington quarter. You might have heard some whispers online, maybe even seen a video or two claiming this coin could be worth a small fortune. Well, I am here to separate the facts from the fiction, to tell you the real story behind this specific coin, and to give you the motivation you need to go check your collection right now. This is not just another piece of pocket change. This is a piece of American history, and for some, it could be a surprisingly valuable asset. So, let's get right into it and talk about the 1987 D quarter. Now, the very first thing that probably pops into your head when you hear about an old quarter is the question of its value. Is it worth more than 25 cents? The answer, my friends, is a resounding yes, but with a very important catch. The value of this coin is not a fixed number. It is a spectrum that depends entirely on one critical factor: its condition. You see, a coin that has been jingling around in pockets for decades, getting scratched and worn down, is going to be worth a lot less than a coin that has been meticulously preserved since the day it was minted. For a 1987 D quarter that has seen regular use, the kind you might find in a handful of change from a convenience store, the value is relatively low. According to the NGC price guide, a circulated 1987 quarter is typically worth between 30 cents and 85 cents. Other sources confirm this, noting that circulated coins are often valued right around their face value of 25 cents. So if your coin is worn, it's not going to make you a millionaire, but don't let that discourage you just yet, because the real story lies in the coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition. This is where things start to get exciting. When we talk about uncirculated coins, we are talking about specimens that have never been used in daily transactions. They have retained their original mint luster and sharp details. For a 1987 D quarter in this kind of condition, the value can jump significantly. The NGC price guide notes that on the open market, pristine, uncirculated 1987 D quarters can sell for as much as $135. That is already a massive jump from 25 cents, and it shows you the power of preservation. But the potential value doesn't stop there. For coins that have been officially graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, the value can climb even higher. A coin graded MS65, which stands for Mint State 65, representing a coin with few imperfections, can command a solid price. The Gray Sheet, a trusted pricing guide for dealers, lists the retail value for an MS67 grade at $310. This shows that even small differences in quality can translate to significant differences in price. However, the absolute peak value for a 1987 D quarter is reserved for the finest examples known to exist. The highest grade ever recorded for this coin is an MS68, a near-perfect specimen that is incredibly rare. While the NGC census shows only one coin has been graded at this level, the implications for its value are enormous. In fact, there are records of MS67 graded coins selling for impressive sums. A record sale for a 1987 D quarter reached $675.63 at Heritage Auctions back in 2015. More recently, in January 2026, an NGC MS67 1987 D Washington quarter sold at Great Collections, and a PCGS MS67 example is listed with a wholesale value of $1,234. Now, when we talk about how many people want to buy this coin, we have to look at the market. The 1987 D quarter is not a rare coin in the traditional sense. A massive 655,594,696 of them were minted at the Denver facility. This high mintage number means that circulated examples are incredibly common, and the demand for them is low. The market is flooded with them, which is why they are only worth face value. But the demand shifts dramatically when we talk about high-grade, uncirculated examples. The numismatic community, which includes both serious collectors and investors, is always on the lookout for coins in exceptional condition. Because so many of these quarters were released into circulation, finding one that has survived in perfect, untouched condition for nearly 40 years is a real challenge. This scarcity in high grades is what creates demand. When a high-grade 1987 D quarter comes up for auction, it attracts the attention of collectors who are trying to build the finest registry sets possible. The fact that an MS-67 coin recently sold and attracted multiple bids proves that there is a very real and active market for these top-tier specimens. So is its value really high or low? The answer is both, and it completely depends on your perspective and the condition of your specific coin. If you have a worn 1987 D quarter, its value is low, and you shouldn't get your hopes up for a huge payday. It is a common coin, and its value reflects that. However, if you have a coin that looks like it was just minted yesterday, with full luster and sharp details, then its value is definitely high. The potential to turn 25 cents into over $600 or even more for a perfect specimen is a phenomenal return on investment. The value is not inherently high or low. The value is determined by the coin's quality, and the potential for a high value is absolutely there. Now let's take a step back and look at the history of this coin, because understanding its story adds to its allure. The Washington Quarter Series was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design was the result of a competition, and the winning entry was created by a man named John Flanagan. His design featured a portrait of the first president on the obverse, or the front, and a majestic eagle on the reverse, or the back. This design was so well received that it became a permanent fixture of American coinage. The 1987 D quarter is part of the later years of this classic design. By 1987, the composition of the quarter had changed from silver to a copper-nickel-clad composition, which is what we still use today. The D Mint mark on the coin signifies that it was struck at the Denver Mint. The coin was built, or minted, in 1987 as part of the regular production of currency for the United States. It was created to facilitate commerce, to be used in everyday transactions across the country. There was no special event or grand ceremony for this specific year. It was simply another year of producing the coins needed to keep the American economy running. But why was it built in such massive numbers? Well, in 1987, the economy was growing, and there was a high demand for coinage to support business and trade. The Denver Mint was tasked with producing a huge quantity to meet this demand, which resulted in the mintage of over 655 million coins. This is why they are so common today. They were never intended to be collectible rarities. They were workhorses of the American financial system. And that is precisely what makes the few that survived in perfect condition so special. They are accidental treasures, coins that were made for the masses, but through sheer luck and careful preservation, have become highly sought after by collectors. So where does that leave us? It leaves us with a coin that is a perfect example of how condition is everything in the world of coin collecting. The 1987 D Washington Quarter is a common coin with a fascinating history, and its value can range from practically nothing to over $1,000. It is a testament to the fact that treasure can be found in the most unexpected places. Now I want to motivate you, the audience, to take action. This is your moment. Go through your old coin jars, check your drawers, and look through that box of coins you inherited from a grandparent. You are looking for a quarter that has a D Mint mark, which you can find on the front of the coin, just to the right of George Washington's ponytail. But more importantly, you are looking for a coin that is in impeccable condition. Look for a coin that is crisp and sharp, with no visible wear. If you find one, do not spend it. Do not clean it, because cleaning can actually damage the coin and reduce its value. Instead, put it in a safe place and consider having it professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. Imagine the thrill of discovering that a simple coin in your possession is worth hundreds of dollars. Imagine holding a piece of history that has survived for decades in near-perfect condition. The 1987 D-Quarter might not be the rarest coin in the world, but its potential for value makes it one of the most exciting coins to look for. It is a reminder that sometimes the most ordinary things can hold extraordinary value. So get out there, start searching, and you might just find your own hidden treasure. The story of the 1987 D-Quarter is a story of potential, and that potential is waiting for you to discover it.